Hello everyone, my name's Debbie. I'm Mum Bear Stitchery here on Flosstube and over on Instagram, and this is a channel mostly about cross stitch. Today is my October stitching update, and it also features some framing, some finishes, and my plans for 2025 that I'm actually going to start like a soft opening off for the last 2 months of the year to like iron out any kinks and stuff like that in those plans. So I have a lot of projects to get through today and show you all. So grab a drink and let's just get started. So like I said, I had some framing. I had another piece back from the framer. I just get mine done at Michael's. The lady there is really good with cross stitch. So this was a finish that I got back. Oh, not too much reflection. This is Fish and Ships by Long Dog Samplers. It was on 32 count opal shimmering azure by Under the Sea Fabrics, and I just stitched this in DMC 3865. And I went for the museum glass, so even though the bright ring light is shining on it, it's not too bad. I just went for, it's a really dark navy frame. It just allowed the thing to pop. Piot is very excited to have this now. After I show it to you, he can take it down to his office and hang out there. But yeah, so glad to get that one back from the finish, back from the framer. And actually, let me put this out of the way because I'm likely to knock it over. And now I need to decide what, they still have the 70% sale on apparently. It's the only time that I'll actually drop stuff in to make it worthwhile, so I need to pick something else from under the bed box and maybe drop it off. Okay, let's just start from the top rest of the projects, and I will definitely need my notes today. So the next one's actually a finish, and I'll insert pictures either of cover image or before pictures, all that kind of thing up here. But the first one that I actually finished this month, it was my focus project that I was keeping on the Q-snap until it was done. And I finally got it done. I thought the back stitch would never end, but this is Charabosse by Nimue or Nimue, and you'll see where I was before, and this is where I finished. So yeah, this was my focus on a finished piece. It is stitched on 32 count Joblin and Soaring Dragonfly by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And I used all the call for DMC. There was a specialty fibre. It was just a sparkly green that I couldn't get hold of. I didn't know what it was because it's a European chart. So I just swapped it in for some sparkly DMC instead. And it was hardly used at all. But this one, the back stitch, absolutely made this one come alive. I actually posted a picture on Instagram pre and post back stitch so that you could see the difference. So you could check that out. But this was a cute little Halloween finish, and I'm glad to get this out of my whip pile. So that was finish number one. I actually had 3 finishes this month. Second was a tiny one. This is I Am the Night. It's by the Witchy Stitcher, and I'm pretty sure I started this one for like a sewing challenge, which is why mine is a different color. The original, you can see, is black and pink. It's so cute. It's very, very cute. But I think I changed colors on it because it was for some stitching challenge and something. I had to maybe use a different color. Anyway, mine is teal. And I gave him a little streak of the paler teal in his hair. It kind of matches mine. I actually have, I've dyed over it now, but I actually have a white streak that comes down about there. So he kind of matches. But that's I Am the Night by the Witchy Stitcher. And apologies, nothing's ironed. It would take me half the day, I think, to iron all these projects I have to show you today. But that's him. And again, this one hung around in my like whip pile for like a year or two, and yeah, and while I'm on my finish mission this year and into next year, it was nice to empty a bag. And that one will probably turn into like a little ornament. I saw an idea, somebody had done it with Christmas ornaments where they had like a garland and they had hung it around like a mirror, and they had lots of little Christmas ornaments stuck, like cross-stitch ones, stuck on there with like pegs. And I would love to do that with a Halloween version. Okay, the third finish actually brings me into my cross-stitch Stitchy Bake Off or Cross Stitch Stitchy Baking Show game that Jessie Marie Does Stuff came up with, where there's a certain amount of stitches for things like Star Baker, the person who's eliminated, like based on the show, that kind of thing. You'll have seen a lot of people talking about Stitchy games right now, and that is one of the ones that is ongoing. And I was doing Bake Off, and I emphasize was because that'll all be clear in plans. But one of the projects, because of that, I actually finished was Miso Cute. It is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. You'll see where I was before. It was hardly started. Again, I think this was a Mania start, maybe 2020, and it's been around since. And I actually finished it because of the game. So this one is on, I think it's a 28 count. It's one of those printed Zweigarts. Is it Stormy Night, Vintage Stormy Night? And I just used the DMC that was called for this. There's a couple of stitches on the top and the bottom that I just left off because I want to turn this into like a little pillow or something like that. But I thought it was super cute. I also left off the face on the bowl. I think this one had a face too. And just left the little sushi having faces. I preferred that, but again, another one I'm so glad is out of the whip pile. So that was one of my Great British Bake Off projects. I will quickly go through the others that actually got like some work because of the game. This next one is Coffee Shop. It's the Dimensions Gold Petite kit. I worked quite a bit on this one. I think this one got over 1,000 stitches. And that's where I got to. Lots of same colors. Did not love working on this one. I was very glad to put this one down. I think it's an 18 count fabric, and in some places it's like 3 or 4 strands of floss, and my fingers were just aching by the time that I put this one down. So yeah, that's where I am with this one, but it's still in the nerd hoop, so I'm hoping by having it on the nerd hoop still, I will pick it up or be inclined to pick it up because it is a beautiful kit. And I'm just using the kit fabric, kit floss. The next one is Celestial Dragon. This is by Joan Elliott. And here is where I got to. So I filled in some of the body on the dragon, like these aqua colors, and down through its neck. So I'm trying to fill this bit in here, and then come back in and do the face and the I think it's yellow, like another layer of neck, like here. I do love this one. It's just massive, but I would like to make steady progress on this one, so it will feature in my plans at some point during 2025. I think it's just the moon is like completely like Krynic almost, with some beads scattered in. I think that's what's slowing me down. But yep, the Celestial Dragon, and this one is stitched on a 32 count Witching Hour linen from Under the Sea Fabrics, and I just love how it makes those jewel tones like pop. This one I haven't worked on in such a long time too, so I was actually kind of glad that I put it in the Stitchy Bake Off game, assigned it to like a person, because it was so much fun to work on. And it is Gone Batty by Alessandra Adelaide. And again, I think this was another one that had like 1,000 stitches put into it because the person was Star Baker. So yeah, it was just a fun one to stitch, especially right now around Halloween. It was just so much fun. The colours are just DMC and they really pop on this 28 count black monocle. And so yeah, I would love to, again, pull this one out. And that's why this game has been so much fun, because I assigned a lot of older projects that I haven't really touched like in a while. So it's kind of nice to find, oh, I really enjoy working on this one again. Like, why has it been in hibernation for so long? The next one is a fancy lady. It is Raven Queen by Mirabilia. And I haven't been inclined to work on fancy ladies for like a while. I used to stitch mirrors quite often, and at some point my taste just changed. So this has been around since back in the day when I first began cross stitching. Ooh, my all-in. So yeah, this one I kind of worked around her like neckline and finished off like the spire on the buildings. Not much, but enough to maybe say I would like to pull this one out. Not that frequently, but I would like to see her done. She's actually probably one of my favorite murals right now. So that's that one. And she is stitched on 28 Count Bridget by Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And it's an even weave, but I don't know what type because it's really thick and it's long since lost its label. But that's her. And that one's just in all the called for colours. Next is another kit. Again, we're still on Bake Off projects here. So you can see I worked on a lot of projects, but some of them in only small sections or small amounts. And I think, but it helped me formalize my plans for the end of the year and next year. So it was good. The next one is another kit. This is called Holding Hands. It is an old sunset kit. And here's where I got to. I wanted to work across and get some of the boy in. So it gives me options to either work on the people or work on the background, depending when I next pull it out. So I kind of wanted to give myself like some structure like in the middle so that I could do some like the water or the sky or work on the people. Yeah, this one was actually a really good one. I actually really enjoyed working on this one. I think because it's on the kit Ada, so it's nice big fabric. I think it's actually 14 count, and I'm just using the kit fabric and floss. So nothing difficult about it, which made it an enjoyable stitch. Another one that I haven't touched in a while is Map of Hawk Run Hollow. This is by Carriage House Samplings. And here's where we've got to. You can actually see, like here, this is actually all filled in, like around the Opal's boarding house. You can see it better in person. I started this one, I think this was the first Hawk Run I started, even though I finished Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. This was the first one I started, and I probably wouldn't pick this fabric now if I was starting it. And I did think about restarting this completely. But you do see this color better in person, and there is stitches around it, so it will pop out like later. But this is where I got to. It's on the 40 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I'm just doing the DMC listed colors instead of the MPIs. But yeah, this one I thought I would enjoy more than I did, but it is big blocks of color on 40 count, which I wasn't loving, so kind of glad this one's gone away. Oh, next is one of my favorites, but I don't know why I couldn't continue like working on it. But actually that's not a Bake Off one, so that brings us to the end of the Bake Off section. And like I said, I enjoyed working on like a lot of these projects and pulling them out, but it became like it became like a lot, like not really seeing big chunks of progress on anything and constantly swapping. So it was fun while it lasted, but I think I'm gonna bow out of the cross stitching and baking game. And I essentially became so far behind on it too because I was a parent helper at school for the last couple of weeks, and it was meant to be only like 2 days a week, and it turned into like 5. The kids were learning to sew at middle school in my daughter Elena's class, one of their electives, and they were asking for parent helpers. And because there's like a lot of restrictions in California for being a parent helper, so you have to be TB tested, fingerprinted, do all these volunteer forms that have to be cleared. There's not many people that could go in and help, so but luckily I got it all done. So I went in and it was so much fun. We were making ugly dolls, and put some pictures in here. You can see Elena's creation that she made. She made a zombunny. And I had to crank out some models the night before we were starting the project because the teacher's not a big sewer. Her main topic is cooking. So I just threw together some models the day before so the kids can touch them, feel them, kind of see what they were supposed to be making. And it was so much fun. They came up with amazing creations. Everybody apart from one got finished in the time, but yeah, it was a lot going in every single day. But I wouldn't change it. So, but that took away a lot of stitching time because when I was home I was having to like tidy up and do all the things I would normally do during the day. But that's my ugly doll project that I was part of, and it was so much fun. But things are back to normal this week. But again, this project, stained glass sampler, see a picture here. I was planning to do like a page, maybe 2 pages, and essentially I finished the page that I was on and never picked it back up. I took a picture when I finished out the page, which is here. Oh, might have to hold it 2 hands now. I essentially finished out the page that I was working on with plans to do 1, maybe 2 more, and I just didn't. I just put it back in its project bag. And I think it's because a lot of the baking show stitches were starting to feel like homework and I was getting behind and I was trying to catch back up, that other projects were casualties of that. But I would like to see this one finished in 2025. And that's by Carolyn Manning. Another project that again only came out for like a tiny bit was Halloween in the City. This is by Crocette at GoGo. And this one I actually worked on for one of the challenges in Magazine Monthly group. It was to stitch on something with pumpkin, and this one has pumpkins everywhere. And that's where I got to for this one. And essentially I thought this would kickstart my, I'm going to stitch Halloween things, I'm going to watch Halloween movies. I actually watched Practical Magic. But I haven't really done that this year. It's just been, life's just been so busy. And Halloween is usually my like favourite thing to stitch. But all I did, I put the tree in, worked somewhere at the border. This chart is deceptively massive. You think it's quite small, but it's actually huge. But yeah, so I just put the tree in and I never really picked up again. I'm feeling more Christmas stitching than Halloween. Like we're almost like Halloween's always here this week. It's almost past. I feel like I'm just going straight to Christmas. But this one's on 4 to count even weave in the colour Spooky. Yep, by Bee Stitch Me. And it's just DMC. So I don't know if I'll work on that one again, maybe next year. We're just gonna go straight to Christmas stuff. That brings me to full coverage. Let me check my notes. And this is us kind of sliding into the plans, which I have a board to show you. I've actually wrote my plans like down, like I normally do, but I'm going to show you my board that I've made. So I have been working on a focus full coverage and then a secondary full coverage that essentially stays on the Q-snap until its page is finished, whereas my focus full coverage, I try and achieve a page a month to get it finished. So this one is actually my secondary full coverage, and it is called Minnie, She Sleeps with Butterflies. It's charted by Heaven Earth Designs, and the artwork is Margaret Morales. And I finished out that page. It is 25 count 1/1 full cross. So I finished out that page so I could take this one off the Q-snap, and I have all my secondary full coverage like on a wheel, the non-focusy ones, on a wheel. So when I finish a page, I spin to select my next secondary one that will stay on the Q-snap until it's finished the page. However, in this case, I actually had a new start, and same rules apply. It stays on the Q-snap until magnets are stuck, until the page is finished. So this is Joyriding. It's by UnconventionalxStitch. The artwork is Maggie Vanderwall. And this is where I am. There is so much blue confetti in that background, but it's fine. But you can see the shape of the bat coming in here. I'm stitching a little bit on the bat and then doing some background and then the bat and some background until the page is done. This is one of a few charts that I bought from UnconventionalxStitch once they had a fire. But PDF charts are still available to buy, but it helps her Jodie out, throwing funds her way, and we get some beautiful charts in the process. So yeah, I picked this one to start out of all the ones that I bought, because I thought the cats they just remind me of a book that I read when I was a kid, that I loved. It's The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy, and my kids read it too, and the cats on the broomstick just remind me of the first book, because when the witches are learning to ride, the cats also have to learn to ride, and Mildred's cat, the tabby, was not the best. So I don't know, that's what the image like reminds me of, and it made me smile. So I can't wait to get back and work more on this one. And again, it's on 25 count 1/1 full cross, which is my preference. Okay, more full coverage. Like I said, I have a focus one that I work a page on every single month, and it was, again with the was, Barn Owl on a Post by Artecy. And I did add another page this month to this one. So here we are, page 3 out of 54. And I love that both the eyes are in. That background was not fun to stitch. All these like pale greys behind here. But they are necessary, so they just weren't as fun as like the colours on the owl. But so glad to have both his eyes in now. But here is where plans are going to change. Like I said, this is page 3 out of 54. I would like to continue having a full coverage finish every year. And that's not going to happen with the owl. Even in next year, if I do a page a month, like 3 out of 54, that's not going to happen. So I'm going to switch my focus project out and set it up so that I have a finish in 2025, 2026, 2027, and yeah, just so I continue to have a full coverage finish like every year. So the owl's not going away, but he is going on to my secondary spinny wheel. So he'll, if the cross stitch gods allow, he will come back out when he's picked that way. But instead, my new focus on a finish full coverage is going to be this one. This is a quick stitch by Heaven Earth Designs. It is called Keep Up, and it's a small section of another chart. And I only have 4 pages left on this. So I have like the first 2 pages done. I have 4 left, which means if I do a page a month, I will finish this one in about the end of February. And then I should be able to set some of my next closest ones up for like a 2026 and 2027 finish, because after that the next closest are about 10 pages. But again, if I finish this in February, that gives me the rest of the year next year to have a new focus project, which will then be a finish the following year, if that makes any sense. And again, this is 25 count, 1/1, fill cross. So into more plans. Like I said, so quick stitch, keep up the turtles is going to be my focus piece. My secondary full coverage right now is going to be Joyriding, the one with the cats and the bat. My travel project is going to remain the same, and that is Gone to Pieces by Long Dog Samplers. And by travel project, I mean this one's usually in the car with me when I went in like school pickup line, karate, which I'm not getting much stitcher done right now because it's pitch dark by the time we even leave the house. But mostly school pickup line or doctor's appointments, that kind of thing. It travels with me. So this is where I got to this month. And if I have a short amount of time, I just fill in a background color, and if I have a bit longer time, I pick the grey and copy the chart. And I've got a lot of progress actually done on this one just by doing that. And this is just on a 32 count even weave, and I've changed the colours to a DMC selection. There are lots of blues and yellows and teals, but that's where I am, and this one is going to stay my travel project. I have to remember to take it back to the car today. The next one I'm going to have is what I'm calling the monochromatic of the month, where each month I'm choosing a monochromatic project to just put some threads into. And for November, that is going to be Dasher and Dancer by, is it Hobby House Press? No. Oh, Dasher and Dancer. Yep, Hobby House Press. And I think I got mine a couple of years ago, but I think this one just came out at the recent needlework market. So this one's quite readily available now, and this is where I'm going to be starting from. The linen is Cedar Plank by Lakeside, and it is a 40 count, and I'm stitching it 1/2 with Evergreen by Stitchy Stuff, which is an Etsy hand-dye floss company, or hand-dye floss that you can buy on Etsy from their shop. So yeah, I hope to just get a little bit of working on that, and maybe this Christmas stitching will be more successful than my Halloween stitching. My kit of the month for November is this one. It is the baseball mitt by Mill Hill, and I just picked a small one for this month because I have a lot of homework stitching, which I'll explain in a minute, for the Jingle Ball. So the kit for this month, I've picked a much smaller one, and that's where I am. And this is a frame from the Ukrainian shop on Etsy that, if I remember what it is, I'll link it in the box below. But they're perfect for working on these perforated paper kits. So hopefully I'll be able to finish this one. This was meant to be a gift for someone like 2 years ago, so it needs to be finished. The next one that I'm going to work on in November is the category I've called it is Stitch Along, and I currently have, I have 3, I think, in my stash right now of unfinished stitch alongs. So my plan is to just finish one piece a month, not from each one, just literally pick a stitch along and complete one section or one monthly release from that project. So for November, I have picked Deadly Aquarium by Lola Crow, and it is a completed stitch along now, and I didn't complete in time, but here's where I'm starting from. And I am going to do this in the order that it was released. Like, I'm not going to jump around even though the whole chart's out now. I'm going to stick to each month it was like released in the order that it was released. That's how I'm going to complete it. So that's my stitch along segment. And second last is this next category I'm calling large. And because this is a large project that is very far from being finished, in some cases there will be multi-year projects, I'm going to give these 2 months. So this one I'm going to work on in November and December, because it's kind of, that category is probably going to be my least favorite out of all of them, so they could definitely benefit from being out for 2 months. And this one is Winter Woodland Stocking by Stony Creek. And here's where I am. Maya would like to see this one finished because this is a stocking for her. I've already finished Elena's, so I really should finish Maya's. But actually when I pulled this one out, I was missing like a ton of colours, which I've since got, but I didn't want to work on once I actually picked up the floss that I was missing. But yeah, would love to make some progress on that one, and it's a nice wintry project as well. And my last category is focus on a finish. I've been doing this one already, like the Charabosse, the cat with the little cauldron and the toad, and ones before that, where I just pick a project and it stays on the Q-snap until it is done. And I'm going to keep that category. So I picked an older project to go into that for November. And this is Scissor Sampler by Telling Emblem. And this is where we'll be starting from. And this is a 40 count. I think it's Salt Rock by Colour and Cotton. And it's all the call for colours. So that's that one. But I also this month have 2 more in that category, because I am going to do the Jingle Ball in December, hosted by Lindy Stitches and a whole bunch of other designers who are doing classes. So if you don't know what that is, go check out Lindy Stitches to find out all about it. But I have signed up for 2 classes. I was not fast enough to get a kit, or they were in my cart and then they kept disappearing, and then I think my bank cut me off because they thought it was fraud. Because they're like, are you trying to check out at this Jingle Ball thing, or is this like fraudulent? And they literally halted my card until I confirmed that no, it's just me trying to buy a kit online. So I just got PDF classes, which is fine. I can kit up from Stash, but I now have 2 classes to stitch for. And the first is the Festive Forest by the Blue Flower. And this project is a lot of stitching. I would love to get it finished before the Jingle Ball, which I think is the first week in December, or the first weekend in December. But it is big. And I have made a start. I have kitted it up from Stash. And here is where I am. So I'm in this section. This is going to be the reindeer across here. And I've set myself like a goal to finish like this panel and like this panel by end of Sunday, because I think there's 6 panels total. So I'd like to get like 2 done maybe every week and a half to maybe finish on time. And this is a 32 count Jubilant in the colour, I just read it, Paranormal by Bee Stitch Me. And I'm just using some of the Call for DMCs and a bunch of overdyes that are similar from my stash. So this is a good stash busting project. And that's where I am. The other one I don't even have the PDF for yet. It is the Stacey Nash Gingerbread Little Mouse House. It's going to be like a needle book. So I'm hoping we get that soon. I've ordered some fabric, which hopefully works. If not, I'll pick something else from Stash. But again, that's going to be another kit up floss wise from what I have. But that's a lot of stitching and a lot of plans. And I did make a board. So here is my tiny whiteboard. So you can see this is November, my full coverages, stitch along, travel project, monochromatic, kit, my large, which will be worked on November, December, and my focus on a finish section down here. And I'm the kind of person, I even did this when I was in university for coursework. I would write the tasks that I had to achieve and out on a board, and once we're done, like, I just wipe them off. So I'm going to keep doing that. And I just see I have a new start section at the bottom, but these are technically new starts. Well, the Stacey and Ash one will be once I get that chart. So that's my November plans, and that's the kind of format that I think, let me put this down. Like, that's the kind of format I think I'm going to finish or follow for November, December, and then into 2025. Keep those categories, assign a project to them, and 2 finishes gives me a new start that I can either start right away or I can bank for later. I have 1 or 2 already banked. And that's what I'm going to try and follow, and I'm going to do that over November, December, and see if I need to make any changes to that. But that's my categories, that's my plans. Next month, since this has already been a super long video, I will show you the 12 projects that I've picked out for the Year of Whips challenge, and that is a group challenge by Melanie Watkins, the Soulful Stitcher, and it's a group on Facebook and a hashtag and all that kind of thing on Instagram. And essentially you pick an even number of projects that you are declaring to try and finish in the following year, and to complete the challenge you have to do half, but I'm aiming for them all. So I will show you those 12 projects next month. Last up, I have a tiny micro amount of haul to show you. And speaking of the Jingle Ball, I got my sweater. I got the navy one. It is super cozy. I did size up like the website suggested, and it was perfect. So I just went 1 size up that I normally buy, and it was absolutely perfect. But it's very cute. Throw it over there. Another thing I got that's cross stitching, Bothy Thread Advent Calendar. It did not survive the journey from the UK very well. I've kind of tried to push it all sort of back. This bit's popped out again. I've tried to push this all back together. It definitely they need work on their packaging, because my one last year was exactly the same. It looked like it came on the underside of a plane. But luckily inside it's little bags, and this year is meant to be all cross stitch themed. Last year it was like embroidery and all that kind of thing, and honestly I wasn't going to buy it again unless they'd said it was like all cross stitching, because last year I feel like it was the same blue snowflake in every different stitch, and it was the same finishing materials like every other day. And yeah, I didn't love it last year, but I'm giving it one more shot. But it's full of little numbered reusable little bags, which I love that you can reuse them. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But this year is all cross stitch, so I have hope. A chart that I did buy, Ellen started a picture because it would be better, is Purple Eyes by Passion Ricamo. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I saw it on their Facebook page and it was beautiful. So I picked this up, so it might be a start at some point. Yeah, it's pretty big though. 262 by 256. That's not too bad. It does have a massive DMC list though. But she might be on my start list at some point. Fabric of the month from Be Stitch Me for October was Cold Foam. I got a 40 count Verdal. Very pretty. I am still thinking about cancelling my fabric of the month, given that we're not starting a ton of stuff and I have a ton of fabric to get through. I think I might cancel it next month. And this last thing that I picked up, I wish I could remember the person's name that I bought it from. It was on Stash Unload or Cross Stitch Stash Unloading on Facebook. This person like makes them and sells them. It's a project folder. So it's got the pocket here and things on this side and fuzzy thing, and it's beautiful on the outside. Those Halloween vegetables. Yeah, absolutely love this, and I wish I could remember who it was that sold it, because I would love to buy one for every season. Very last thing before you go off and watch some other people, like I said, I was learning to crochet last time I spoke to you, and I finished a blanket, well, almost finished it. This is in the colour Hocus Crocus. It was one of these like anniversary, these huge ones, Carolyn anniversary yarn balls. They bring out different colours every year for a limited amount of time, and I joined the crochet community at the height of this. So I actually finished my first like lapgan blanket in Hocus Crocus. It weighs a ton, and it's just a simple moss stitch because I'm still learning, but I have to put a border on it, and I got this fluffy stuff which is so soft. So that's my plan this month too, is to fully finish this blanket by putting a border on. But again, that requires watching more videos to learn how to actually do that. So that's all I have. I'm sorry it felt rushed, but I hope my plans are somewhat clear. Feel free to join in, make them your own. I can't wait to see everybody else's, like what they're doing for the rest of the year and for 2025. I can't wait for all those planning videos. But that's mine so far, and I hope you have a safe Halloween if you're going to go trick-or-treating or do anything for that, and I will see you in November. Until then, bye!